Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you a really cool 3-slot payphone, and this is a 236G, and this is Alex's telephone from California. And he has a pretty cool informational sign, a top sign, and it has had a partial conversion done to it, but there's no connection between the body and the base. So they, at some point, were starting to convert it and then either gave up or didn't finish the telephone. And we have a lot of loose connections. They've installed a network here, and this is basically a modular port plug, and it goes to the handset. We also have a line cord modular port and another line cord modular port. So they were basically trying to wire in. What they have here is a line cord that goes out the back, and they just kind of dropped it out the back. We're going to clean all that up and start the conversion over again and do it properly this time. And so we want to mount a modular port so that Alex can simply walk up to this telephone and plug any length line cord that he chooses into this telephone. It will make for a clean, easy, simple plug-and-play connection, and the connections will not be loose like these connections. They're just kind of hanging everywhere. We also want to install a bell, so the network's got to be moved or taken out altogether, and we'll come up with some other situation. We want to make a connection between the body and the base. We have to be able to dial out with this telephone. We want to go through the rotary, and we want to make sure that that's proper. We want to make sure that the coins are dropping through the coin validator properly into the vault area. So we have a lot of work to do. We kind of have to repair what was already started and just kind of start over new and go from there. So we're going to go ahead and get a start on this telephone, and we'll get some more video of it as we move forward in the progress and then the final checkout. So we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and we are in the middle of the process of repairing this telephone. And what we have found here through troubleshooting was that the rotary, although it turned, nothing's working properly on the inside. Now, this is a Western Electric rotary, but it's a rotary that was added later on, and so it's a much newer style rotary. And what we have to do is take these pins out, and it almost looks like somebody's went into this and tried to adjust it because it wasn't working right. Got to be very careful none of this comes apart. None of our leaf contacts are working properly at all. And I really can't try to dial because nothing's going to be aligned without that cover. And so what we need to do is make sure that these leaf contacts are opening and closing properly, and they are just way out of adjustment, way out of whack. It's like somebody's gotten in and adjusted them and totally tore them up. So what we need to do is we're going to go ahead and start working on this rotary. We're going to take a short break, and we'll get it straightened out, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back now, and we have repaired the rotary. That issue has been resolved. Whoever took that rotary apart and worked on it did not understand how to align the rotary and adjust the contacts. So that's been taken care of. And we want to do a test before we start on to other things with the telephone. So we want to go ahead and plug the unit in, and that seized the analyzer. We want to walk through our numbers. So if you watch the analyzer, you'll watch the numbers roll by. I'm going to end in a 2, and so now we know the rotary has been repaired, and we can move along to some other issues that we need to resolve and take care of and redesign and configure. So we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back now, and we have another issue that we need to take care of, and it's with the body lock. What has happened is whoever converted this telephone took the locks and they broke the locks, and you can open them with a screwdriver. And so what's happened here is, I see this a lot, they take the lock apart improperly. There's a certain way to take this lock apart, and there's another way that you're not supposed to take it apart. And so what they've done is they've taken the lock apart and they took it apart improperly. The standoffs that are on the front cover should be on the back cover, and the front cover should have been taken off, and the standoffs should have been left alone that were in the back cover, because they have to stabilize the deadbolt here. The deadbolt has to slide up and down that standoff. That's what this cutout is for. So what's happened here is they also took out all of the other parts, and so they've got nothing here to hold the deadbolt from just slopping back and forth inside the lock. And what happens is, once you take a screwdriver and you take the key entry that would be sticking in the front of the cover here, it's only connected on one side. So what happens is it basically breaks in half after you take this thing apart a couple of dozen times, and if the deadbolt is not riding properly, then you've got to sit there and try to turn it and keep turning it, and so sooner or later what happens is the key entry breaks in half. And so in order to repair that, and this happens a lot, you have to go through each and everything someone else tried to convert or tried to repair. And so now what we need to do is, I've got a bolt here, and we're going to use that as our way to unlock and lock the lock. So that's our key now. We had to grind down both sides of the bolt, because now what we want to do is we want to take the bolt and we want to put it in the piece of linkage, and I want to put this in there. We want to drive that down in the piece of linkage, and I want to make sure it goes a little farther, because it should go down all the way. So now that is in the linkage that turns the deadbolt. And now we also have to put some other parts in to keep the deadbolt from slapping back and forth and causing it to be all loose inside. So this is going to sit in like this and cause that deadbolt to be able to go back and forth. And then we have to reinstall our cover. So we need to add some parts. We need to reinstall our cover. We also had to grind down the standoffs, which are also rivets in a sense, because once you take the lock apart after they put it back together again, you know, it's not even any longer, so you have to put a little bit of a point on there so that you can actually even get your cover back on. But the idea is basically going to be something to that effect, and it will take the place of your key entry that never lasts. It always breaks in half, and so in order for Alex to get any use out of it and still continue to be able to get his lock open, we have to go through this repair and conversion also. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break. We're going to get the lock squared away, and then we're going to come back and start our final checks. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back now, and we are basically finished up with a repair and conversion of this telephone. We have one last issue that we want to take care of, and if you watch my videos, you know that the T1s, the transmitters that are in these telephones have carbon granule crystals in them, and when they start to go bad, they have a sizzling and static sensation sound in the receiver, and that comes from the transmitter. And you can have a bad cord or a bad connection, but the transmitter can also cause a static sensation and noise, and so what we want to do is replace that. And so I want to take the handset and I want to remove the old T1. That's noisy, and so that's going to be replaced. We're going to set that to the side. We want to take the new one and install it. So now what we can do is we can start our final checks. We'll go ahead and we'll plug our unit in. We also want to give you a still picture of the modular port in the back that we installed so that Alex can simply plug in any length, any color line cord. And we are using his line cord at this time. So now what we can do is go ahead and ring the telephone. We'll let that go a few times. It did not have a bell installed. I'll let it go one more time. We'll go ahead and give you some dial tone. And now we want to walk through our numbers. If you remember earlier in the video, we repaired the rotary dial. So if you watch the analyzer, you'll watch the numbers go by. I'm going to end in a 2. Now I want to transmit into the handset. If you watch that red light on the analyzer, every time you see that red light, that's an indication of 100% modulation on transmit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello, hello. So we know that this telephone is ringing in on a ring cycle. It's dialing out. It has receive and transmit. We also want to talk about when you unlock and lock this telephone up. You want to push on the body, at the bottom of the body, when you're trying to open that lock or lock it, because that takes the pressure off the lock when you press in on the body. And they're designed that way. You want to press in on the body when that happens, when you're unlocking and locking the telephone. Okay, now what we can do is we can put some change into the unit, and we want to start with a quarter. Now that's going to gong one time, and it falls down into the vault area. We'll do a dime, which will ring the bell twice. We'll do a nickel, that'll ring the bell once. We're going to go back to a quarter. We'll do a dime, and we'll do a nickel. So now that's all falling down into the vault area, and we know that anytime Alex or anyone puts any money in it, it will end up in the vault area. So we'll be right back. Okay, we can do another check. We can call a time and temp number, and they're having problems with that time and temp number. So if you hear a hum, that's on their end. It's their equipment. Has nothing to do with what we're doing on our end. I have a switch box here, and if I press that button, that gives us a line out and totally takes the analyzer out of the situation. And we'll go ahead and give you some dial tone, and we'll call that number.
Sunday, May 11th. The time is 7:59. Current temperature 87 degrees. Payphone is another community service of First Cloverleaf Bank. Partly cloudy tonight, lows around 70. Monday, partly sunny and breezy, 40% chance of a shower and a thunderstorm, a high 85.
Okay. We can call one other number. We can call my number, and it'll be busy. I'll give you some dial tone. Now that we know that this telephone has been repaired and converted, we can return it to Alex, and he can enjoy this telephone. These 3-slot payphones are really cool, and they look good no matter where you install them. This is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.